Hello and welcome back to the channel where it has been quite some time since I actually done a Tales from my backlog. Yeah, in case you're new here, as far as up to last year, before I started to dig bits of breaks in terms of like reviewing movies and that, I used to have a Tales from my backlog series, where I would basically go through a bunch of the movies that I, growing up, never seen, such as the Rocky franchise or the Alien franchise or the Predator franchise, and see what my takes on them are as a first time watch. And it's been quite a while since I done one of these, to the point where I don't even remember what the last uh, Tales from my backlog was. It might have been during a trilogy month or something like that, or it might have been, I don't know. I probably should have done my research on that one. Um, but I decided to bring it back simply because I decided that I still have a lot of movies in my personal collection, both DVD and Blu-ray, that I've just never seen. And I just aren't watching them for some reason. If I have a bunch of movies that I haven't seen before, I should probably get around to, watching them. Um, and I decided that this time, inspired by a TikTok creator, whose name is escaping me right now, but I should hopefully have his handle somewhere on screen. Where he is, what he's doing is he's going through his own personal collection within a week, watching a week worth of movies that he hasn't seen. And if he likes the movie, he's going to keep it. If he doesn't, he's going to get rid of it. So I'm going to do something of the same. If I like a movie that I've never seen before, I'm going to keep it. If I don't, if it's a DVD, I'm going to burn it onto my laptop, um, and then cull it from the collection. Or if it's a Blu-ray, just cull it straight away because I only have uh, a disc, a DVD um, disc drive for my laptop. So as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, I'm going to be reviewing the critically acclaimed Akira. Now, I knew basically next to nothing about going into this film. I went into this film 1000% blind. The only thing that I knew from this movie was that the power slide that happens in the beginning of the movie that gets referenced by so many people. Because, like I said, this movie is critically acclaimed. Now, the plot of it is very confusing because I watched this with my partner, and even she was confused. So, like for the first hour, trying to piece together like what is the actual plot. But what I can gather from it is that 30 years after the end of World War III, in 2019, Neo Tokyo is in shambles. There's a lot of corruption going on. There's a lot of government secrets being happening, as well as experiments where we have these three little kids who have very strong psychic powers, and what one of the of from the main character, um, friend, ends up becoming basically gets these psychic powers, and uh, the movie goes on from there. So the main movie follows basically two characters of Tetsudo and Canada. Canada, whose English voice actor I clocked like that. I even said to my partners, like, "Is that Johnny Young Bosch?" Because obviously I know of Johnny Young Bosch as both an actor and a voice actor. As an actor in terms of Power Rangers, he replaced Zack in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then he continued on till about Turbo, and then he of course left and then has come back a bunch of times, but is also really big as a anime voice actor. As the main character from Trigun, Bleach. He's also the new voice actor for Broly for Dragon Ball, and of course his credentials is big. So I clocked him immediately. So it is Tessido who is the one with the psychic powers, and Canada is basically trying to find his friend because he's been kidnapped by the government, and it turns out Tetsudo goes batshit crazy trying to find this thing called Akira, which is a government secret weapon that actually destroyed original Tokyo during World War III, and so he's trying to get to that, and then of course Canada is trying to get through to his friend, and a whole bunch of shenanigans happen. So, what did I think of the movie? I don't know, to be completely honest with you. There are bits that I liked. I liked the animation. I loved the hand drawn animation. I loved how the tanks looked. I loved how the skyscrapers looked. I liked how the movie looked visually. Now, because again, I'm watching the DVD version here, so that's what I'm basing this off of. I don't own the Blu-ray, and I probably will never own the Blu-ray, um, because I just didn't understand it. I think I also went in with very high expectations, because I've been told that this is like such a phenomenal movie. It inspired so much. Um, it's one of the most influential movies out there. But I didn't get it. Now, I'm not going to write it off and say, oh, I'm never going to watch it again, because I probably will. I will give it another shot eventually, just not right away. Might give it another year or two before I decide to sit down and watch it. Now, as it's a 2 hour film, but it felt like three. Like that's as the movie was going on, it's like this doesn't feel like a 2 hour movie. This feels like a 3 to 3.5 hour film. That's just how I was feeling. Now, of course, I was watching this very late, so me being a bit tired also probably played a factor into that. But I am open to giving this movie another shot in the future, just not right now. So what I'm going to do is, of course, I am going to be culling Akira from the collection after I burn it onto my laptop and put it in onto my external hard drive. So that way, when I do want to revisit it, I can just hook my laptop up to my TV via HDMI cable, and then I'll give it another shot. And who knows, maybe my opinions might have changed. But on Letterboxd, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars, because a lot of the battle sequences. That was the other thing that I really loved, enjoyed about this film. Not loved, but enjoyed, was the fight sequences towards the end. Between Canada and Tetsudo. I thought that was beautifully done and beautifully stylized. So I get now where all the references now to, well, not all the references, but I get some of the references from other media that are made in relation to Akira. Johnny Young Bosch did a very good job. There's definitely a lot of scenes that could have used with a bit of audio, because it was just like dead silent. And some of the cuts felt a bit off. Because I'll show you now which version I watched, because I watched this version right here, which is the DVD, digitally remastered, featured in 16 by 9, anamorphic widescreen, with English digital Adobe 5.1 surround sound, English stereo 2.0. So yeah, that is the version that I watched. Not sure if that made much of a difference compared to if I watched on this version, which had the original featurette in 4:3 full screen. But I definitely will give it another shot. I'll burn both versions onto the laptop maybe, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that has been my review for Akira. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments down below. Let me know how wrong I am for not enjoying this movie, because if you're new here, that happens a lot. There's a lot of good movies that a lot of people love that I don't love. the first Alien movie being prime example of that. I'm very known for having the controversial movie opinions. Not so much lately, but definitely 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was in my small group of friends on YouTube. I was definitely known for having the most controversial YouTube opinions. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know what I'm going to be posting next, but I will hopefully see you for the next upload. I'll catch you all next time.